You want me to record? Oh. Yeah.
Okay, we're recording.
Yay!
Okay. Yay! Let's just do a little brief introduction.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll do the brief introduction.
Okay.
Here we are, three artists, artists and designers, talking about using the tools of access consciousness and how it changed our business and our life and getting our talents and gifts out into the world. So we started chatting and then we're like, oh, we should be recording this.
So good.
Yeah, good idea.
So Julie, do you want to start again?
Okay. So many years ago, before I found Access, I had, it was interesting. I had created a business basically because people kept walking up to me and seeing what I was wearing, my jewelry, and saying, where did you get that? Where can I get that? And it's like the universe kind of nudged me into creating a business. And I was just out of college and I didn't really know anything about anything. I just was in the question all the time and creating things that I liked for me, because I didn't see anything in the world that I could afford that I liked. And the things I could afford, I didn't like. So I just created all the time. And I never let business or not having a clue of how that worked stop me. I just kept moving forward. And I asked a lot of questions. My business actually grew and became this like almost $1 million business at one point by getting my product on Oprah. And really that just all came through like imagining and wondering and asking the universe, like, wow, wouldn't it be cool if this occurred? And what would happen if that occurred? And I just kept going and moving forward. When I did find the Access tools, I don't know how many years later, that was like 15 years ago I found the Access tools. I started realizing what it was that I was doing that created that so different than many other people. And one was I pulled energy. Like when you want something, instead of going, oh, I can't have it, I would just pull it in because I wanted it. I just pull from the universe, pull until I got what I wanted. And what else was I saying? I asked a lot of questions, which is another tool of Access. And anytime anything came up as a limitation or a roadblock, I would use the Access clearing statement to clear any of my points of view that kept me from continuing to move forward. Because I know that choosing and asking questions and moving forward always created something, but staying there and being stuck did not.
Thank you.
So there you go.
It's an amazing story.
Yeah. It's kind of cool. So Beatriz, you want to go?
Okay, thank you. I'm an interior designer, and I'm an artist from all the time. Always have some papers and something to sketch on. Sometimes I just grab a napkin and start to draw. So when I started to work in interior designer and architecture, and I was so into the work or everything that is creating And I didn't notice by that time that I'm so aware of the elements that is involving with the earth or the thoughts of the people, the projections and the expectations of the clients, the workers, the other designers or the engineers, and all that movement that was creating from the design of the paper to the creation of the actualization in the matter. So since I have a memory, I always was walking into a construction area. So it was something that is familiar for me. But I always sketching and always looking, and I realized that always doing in silence. I just perceiving. Now I have these words to describe it, but by that time, I'm just being there, just looking, exploring, and with sometimes the place was cold and humid, and some other times was hot and dry, and all those elements start to creating the product, the final product that is going to be created, like a house, like a building, or just a bedroom. That every space has something different, and I get to sensing, perceiving all those elements, all those. But by that time, I just do it like you said, Julie. I just perceiving it, but not acknowledging. And I think because I didn't acknowledge that, I don't put that value of what I was doing. So it's just like, yeah, I help you, or I wasn't valuing my creation or my contribution to the creation, even if I was creating by myself or in the group by an organization or a construct, a company. So now I look back and I said, oh, I was doing all that. I was talking with the elements. I was perceiving the energy of things, of thoughts or emotion even. And from the land when it's removing. And now I start to looking into that project, or into that project that could be created, engaging all those energies to create something different with more contribution to everything. Because we as a person, we contribute to the elements or the materials or the spaces also. So it's a relationship or a co-creationship or a creationship when the two parts are gifting and receiving all the time. So the furniture give us something with that energy, and we give them back those energies. The energy we can contribute to them. So I'm exploring that now. How can we create something different in any creation or in any art creation by allowing those, recognizing or acknowledging those energies? Or what can we do for the place or for the things and the things for us? And the other time I was like cleaning something, and it was something like plastic and doesn't have enough value, but I was cleaning up, and I was cleaning that like with care. And I said, and I got that awareness, if I take care of you, you take care of me. So we can do that with those creations, even if it's jewelry, sculpture, a painting, whatever. I do some crochet too, so I start to crocheting. One time in my life when I slow down my interior designer. I have to look for my baby, so I couldn't stop creating. I was in maternity, but I couldn't stop creating. So I found crochet. I remember what I learned in school when I was little. I went to YouTube, some videos to catch up a little bit, and I started creating. And I started doing some things that I was doing with such passion that everyone was, I want that. Do that to me one. I want, you have to sell that. I'm just doing it because of the fun of it. So I started a company around that. I started to selling those products. It was made by hand, maybe the cost, if I value with money and by time, and maybe it doesn't value so much money, but the contribution of that piece by the creation by itself, it was enormous. It was like my $1 million. It was amazing. So how can we get that joy, that passion, that joy, that engagement with all the materials? Because it was the needle, the right. I forgot the the name, but the yarn, everything got involved in the creation. So from the houses, from the interior design, sometimes it's a little bit more of colors. Sometimes it's move around that plant that needs that different light, a different air. We can involve all the time with those things, or those elements. So my tools right now more is talking with things, talking with the awareness of the consciousness of everything, and ask where they want to be, what they want to create or be created. Sometimes I perceive the energy of something that want to be created. So I start to ask questions and start from that. And when I see you talking, I always have a piece of paper. I said, and I start to drawing just by listening to you. And I don't know, I just, sometimes it's like straight lines. Sometimes it's different every time. And it changed. This is what I was running when Nicole was talking. It doesn't look too much, but this is what I draw when Julie was talking. So maybe we do perceive the energy of other people's, of the words, without using beyond the words. So how can we use that to get life to something that want to be created? So there's a lot of things we can.
Sounds like you're really.
I do.
Sounds like you're passionate about your work and your patience and your creativity. Yeah. I don't know. So as you were speaking, Beatriz, like I realized how many tools I've been using, and I'm actually really grateful because, you know, access consciousness tools are really simple, but yeah, they've been really just made a huge difference for me. So I was making jewelry many years, but like all silver, right? And I wanted to get into gold jewelry. However, I had a lot of doubts because gold is expensive, and I didn't think that I was good enough to start working with gold. And I was afraid that I may waste some because I'm not good at it, that I'll waste a lot of money. And I just couldn't start. And months went by, and I started just really, I learned this thing about speaking to the creation in the future. So I worked in fashion industry as a design director for time. I worked in fashion for over 20 years, but I never known that I could speak into the creation of the future. So, and I started doing it, and it was really cool. Like, I was able to perceive the energy of the future creations. And then I'll be like asking questions. Okay, what wants to be created? How do you want to be created? Do you want to be created with gold, or do you want to be created with silver? And what gems would you like to be created with? Do you want diamonds or sapphire or crystals, you know? And whenever I ask these questions, there'll be a specific charge. And it seemed to be that when it's kind of like light and vibrant, seems to be the answer. So I just like follow the energy, whatever there was like, kind of like things that sort of like make me more up or happy or joyful. Like, I perceive energy that way. And I'm sure it's kind of different for everyone. But basically, when the answer is affirmative, I'll feel very light and vibrant. Like, you know, when you watch your glass of champagne, you see all the bubbles. It's so, so light. It's very much light. So after following energy and really like speaking into the future creations, I was able to create gold, and it became really fun for me. And voila, here I am now. I'm a goldsmith, not a silversmith.
Isn't it funny how we stop ourselves with doubt about our ability?
Yeah.
I mean, I remember it took me 10 years to make a tag with my name for my jewelry, because every year I was like, well, you know, what if the business doesn't continue? What if people don't want to buy my work? What if? And, you know, you have to make a mold and a die and all of that stuff and get 10,000 of them at a time. So it was, you know, it was a big investment, and yet it wasn't that much of an investment. It was committing to my life. And I can't believe that I waited 10 years.
Yeah.
But I did.
Yeah. I mean, it's like so good you're talking about it, but it's basically all the fear, doubt, judgments, like all those things kind of block our way. But in truth, we think that they block our way, but we actually make them block ourselves. Like, we actually create sort of roadblocks, you know? So in Access, like, you know, they talk about the distractors. Like, basically those are, how would you explain that, Julie?
The distractors: anger, rage, fury, hate, blame, shame, regret, and guilt. Addictive, compulsive, and perverted points of view. Love, sex, jealousy, peace, life, death, living reality.
Oh my God. Woo!
Business, relationship.
Remembers them all.
Fear and doubt.
Fear and doubt. Yeah.
So they distract you from everything, really. It's like that energy that you were saying about your creations in the future. I do the same thing, and a lot of times it's like when I'm at a gem show and I see all the different gems and they're all talking all at the same time, and there's like all this excitement and champagne.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, this one and this one and this one. There's there can be this overwhelm, or you can get bigger than it. You can expand, and you can perceive your voice and your choice to create the energy that you want to create in the world. And find those pieces that will contribute to that, and put them together, and talk with them and listen to that, and look for that spark that is the inspiration for the creation.
Yeah.
It's all this energetic thing that we play with and we've never put words to before. And it's kind of cool to hear each of you talk about it, because it's like, oh yeah, that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. So when I was designing, this is perfect. It's like, this is totally connected to what I'm going to gonna just share is that before using Access Tools, my brain was very much geared toward creating those creations to make money and make my business successful. So I thought, you know what, I need to pay for all the materials, I need to pay for the workers, I need to whatever, like pay the rent, right? And I was really stressed. But now with all the Access Tools, I just ask questions. Okay, what contributions am I making today? Or before I create something, I ask, what contributions am I making for myself and for others, or for the world? Is this action that I'm going to take, is this going to create the most? Or is it going to generate the most? And I get so expanded, so light, and I no longer think about the profit and loss of my stuff. Of course, as an entrepreneur business person, you need to do that. However, you don't have to be trapped by or controlled by that sort of like structure or rules, you know? So I
creating beyond it.
Yeah, basically beyond it. It's just a wonderful space for me to be in, because you know what? All my life working in fashion, I always asked, what contribution can I make? What can I give to the world, to the people? Because I always believe that there's more than I could offer. Like there's more than just the clothes I design. So I'm just so happy and excited, because what I'm doing now is not just creating little pieces of jewelry. What I'm creating is really offering incredible energy or possibility, because guess what? Like each thing that we design or create really captures the energy or heart or our love for the craft or the people or design. All that is captured in there. So when people buy that, and some people may not perceive the energy, or some people do, right? And then they wear a beautiful pendant or jewels, but that could really provide so much for the wearer, the person who wears it, as well as all the people around them.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that it's just incredible. Like, it's like, yeah, my job done. Like, if I could make that kind of contribution to the people in the world, you know, my job is like really done.
Oh, that's great. Thank you.
Yay. Yeah.
And like you said,
pulling the people in to find it, you know, and asking the product to pull in who it wants.
Yeah.
That's another thing that's really cool.
Exactly right. So like even in this Zoom call, you know, we started asking, oh, what contribution can we make to the people or to the world as well as us? But it's just so like, so basically you have the choice to really like expand your world and choose to keep it all to yourself or share, you know?
Yeah. And that's another thing that artists do, because when we create something, we want to hold it like it's like our precious thing. Because we put a lot of ourselves in the creation, but sometimes we are not willing to let go to the world, and we hide it and we keep it to ourselves. In that moment, we sort of kill our creation because we don't share it. If we are willing to share it, to share a little who we are, we send that contribution to everything. The other thing is the willingness to have profit for it, because we enjoy it so much. We have so happy doing it, so we don't have to have a profit about that. And there's a few points of view that we don't want to mix about money and the love of creation, but it has to do everything about that. So when we are willing to have a profit with everything we be, everything we are being that contribution to the world, and we allow ourselves to keep creating. When we don't have to have a profit, we stop creating. And that moment is, okay, why I'm making this so significant and relevant that I want to share it? Or maybe we judge that doesn't have any value or too much value to have a profit about that, because it's so easy for you or so easy for us to create it that we don't put a value or a price for that, because it's so easy. But
you know, it's really funny too. like asking your product what it wants to be priced at and getting out of your head about it. Because I had a necklace that, I mean, it was really beautiful, and I had like kept the price down because I wanted to make it really reasonable. And a friend came in and said, that's not incongruent. It's not in congruence with the piece and your work. Like, you should raise the price. So I raised it $100, and the next day somebody bought it. Cool. Whereas that was sitting around for a couple of months. So it's like, sometimes you have to honor the piece before it will sell.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, well, I would say all the time you need to honor the piece before it will sell, and allow it to find its person.
Yeah, I love that too. You know, because like I'm from a corporate world, so in the corporations that I worked at, we'll have a target for the price of the, let's say if it's a necklace, right? Then we'll say, okay, the price point is, let's say $500 or $1,000. And then you will go to work and design into the price structure.
Oh.
But then it sort of saps the creativity, right?
Yeah, don't do it that way at all.
Yeah.
Just because it's $500, who knows that that piece will be sold, right? But maybe a different designer may design something that costs $10,000, but then that piece sells like immediately. So like really, you know, this is just so cool with Access that you could actually speak into the creation or into the energy of the person who would love to buy that sort of pieces.
Yeah.
So then it's so much more efficient, you know, rather than all the people producing all these things, hoping that they will be sold, hoping that they will make money from selling them. But rather, if they could tap into the buyer's energy and really listen for what people really want, right? Then it's like you don't have to create all these unnecessary pieces that will just sit around the shelf for years.
Yeah.
I remember probably 10 or 11 years ago, I went to a class in Australia, and Gary, he didn't have the guild yet. He had invited another designer, an Italian designer, to come and do a show with his pieces, and they were hundreds of thousands of dollars, gorgeous pieces. And I went to the event and tried on all the work and was just so inspired by it. And I ended up speaking with the designer, and he saw some of my work, which I just, you know, like, oh, well, you know, mine's not real. Like, yours is real. And he's like, no, like, look at your detail and look at the way this is constructed and look at the design. He's like, you have it, just keep going. And I left that event, and I happened to get into the elevator with Gary. And I said to him, you know, I feel like you created that whole event just for me, because I had pretty much given up on creating in gold and diamonds and, you know, things of value, like you were saying, Nicole, earlier, because, you know, you don't think it's going to sell, or it's a huge investment, or you're not good enough, or whatever those things are. And I just kept myself small and kept creating, you know, little things that I thought people would want. And he said, you know, never give up on your dreams and create what you want. Because when you create what you want, you have the joy of it. And that's what actually creates things that sell.
Oh,
and I was like,
amazing.
oh,
Yeah.
oh.
Oh my
So I'm
God.
grateful for this conversation, because it's bringing that back to my awareness. And when you're in business, and you want to continue staying in business, if you're not aware of those things that underlie the creation, you start to fall into that corporate sense of, oh, I've got to create something. So what do people want? Instead of, what would I like to create? Because when I make things for me, everybody wants it off of my body,
Yeah.
And then I remember, Julie, like when you're just talking about the stuff just now, I remembered what Gary said. Gary said, you would want to create something that you feel proud, or you may want to do certain work that makes you feel proud, because if you don't, that business is not going to grow, right? So for a long time, like when I tried to start my own thing, I tried to like make little things that were kind of, I thought, cheap enough for people to afford to buy, but I never felt proud. And now, like, I make pieces that I really love, and I'm like, wow, this is so cool. I really love them, and there's pride in me. It's like, wow, I've done I've done this. Like, I've done it. Like, it's just such an incredible sense of working and being. And you guys are right. Like, people perceive that. Like, they don't know what they're perceiving, but they're definitely perceiving. It's like, oh my God, what is she doing? What is she making? Oh wow, what are you up to? Oh really? You make things like that? Oh, let me see. Like, people can't just like hold themselves back, because they get so like attracted to that energy of some people have actually done it beyond their limitations, beyond their roadblocks, and that's what people get really, really attracted to, like that, the possibility, that's the energy of possibility.
So what are we going to offer for people? Maybe we should wrap this up, because it's going to be a long conversation for people to listen to.
Yes.
And maybe we can post something that if people would like some assistance or have comments or questions, we could create some kind of a...
I think like this is my idea, but like offering people tools, because maybe it became so like natural and, I don't know, easy for us to use all different kind of tools, because there are a lot of tools, right? For people who are just starting off, or I don't know, young people, or people who don't know much about access tools, they may really want to know more about the tools and learn them, and actually hear how we use them and how they can use them in their life and work or something.
Yeah, cool.
But also, I mentioned one thing, like, so I've been a designer for a long time, and when I meet new people, they'll be like, oh, you're a fashion designer? Oh my God, how do you do that? Like, how did you become that? What it's like? Like, women, some men too, women go crazy. Like, when they know that you're a designer or you're a creator creating things, for them, like, they have that sort of like that dream, fantasy about the design world, or being able to create, or being a creator in life or in work, and they really like to do it, but they haven't been able to. So, like, oh my God, how do you do it? I want to learn how to do it. It's the energy is like very much like that. So I don't know, is there anything that we could offer to people who would love to start designing or being an artist, or how about some of the other people who have already started and just feel kind of sluggish and tired already?
Maybe we can begin with the tools. They start to acknowledging what works for them, and then we can go to what are they doing to stop them. Like this. Suddenly you can talk, but there's the energy. Clear something about that. Clear it, and then went into some kind of creation that we can do online, maybe with a paper, maybe writing, maybe because it could be something who likes to write some books. That's art also. So
Cool.
I don't know. And then we open that space. They share what is art for them. Art for them. Oh, I have
Wait,
to.
So let's share this video in all of our different circles, and then if people would put comments in the share link, and then we'll create something based on the comments and what people would like.
Cool. That's good. Yeah.
And we can follow
like
up in a few days or a few weeks or whatever and see what's next.
Yeah, sounds good.
Cool.
Yeah, sounds great.
Thanks,
Love it.
Julie.
All right, thanks you guys. It was awesome talking to you.
So
Let me
nice talking
see if
to you. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Okay, bye.